Hi, welcome to the Paige Doodle Club. I'm Mike Paige, and today we're going to draw a grumpy old man, like there's any other kind. He's going to be wearing a top hat, maybe like a scarf or something fancy. You're going to want a pencil or pen and some paper, and the willingness to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. The important thing is that you make your mark.
Park Street Books is proud to sponsor the Mike Paige Doodle Club. Find them locally at 504 Main Street, Medfield, Mass. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Or visit parkstreetbooks.com. No matter where you are, that's parkstreetbooks.com.
Let's get right to it. I'm starting with my paper horizontally in the interest of it fitting your screen. However, if I was doing this not on a screen, I would be doing this vertically. So my suggestion to you is turn your paper vertically so you can make this head a little bit bigger. But I'm going to be doing it with my paper sideways, landscape style. I'm going to start the head a little bit more than halfway down the paper. I guess that wasn't quite halfway. But I want the head down towards the lower end. So that I can have plenty of room for a top hat. I'm going to try to do this kind of like quick, exaggerated lines more than perfectly accurate. I always talk about kicking the pen out. I'll be doing that a lot in this episode to get the look that I'm going for. So instead of like carefully making each line, I'm kind of deciding where I want the line to go and then just have the confidence to make it. It might not turn out exactly how you want, but if you practice doing that over and over again, eventually you'll be able to make lines exactly where you want them. All right, so we have an ear. He's going to be facing this way, kind of towards us, but with his head turned this way more. I'm going to give him some wispy old man hair on the side of his head there. You know, the kind where you're like, dude, just cut your hair, it's fine. You're losing it. That's all right. It happens. Some guys like to keep those wisps, you know, to trick you into thinking they have more hair. Next, I'm going to make the line where the front of his head will be. I'm going to put it about here. You can hold off on making that if you want until there's a little more of the head there. And next, I'm going to go ahead and start the top hat. So I'm kind of starting with the curve from the tip of the brim to the tip of the brim. And I'm going to kick the pen back in to right about above where his head is. So if this hat fits correctly, which hopefully it does, you want the hat to be the right size for his head. If you make, this is going to be like a tall stovepipe top hat like Abe Lincoln. If you make the line of the hat way out here, that's going to be way too big for his head. If you put it way in here, it's going to be way too small for his head. So this kind of hat, pretty much any kind of hat, the crown of the hat should be almost exactly the width of the head. Just a good general rule to go by. And I'm going to have this top hat kind of curving forward almost. Maybe not quite that much. I wanted it about there. And then this line that goes up, I'm bringing it down just below the back end of the brim. And then we'll curve it across here. And I'm going to do like a quick scribble shadow here just because that wrong line is driving me nuts. Sometimes the details of a drawing are kind of shaped by the mistakes that you make. And that's cool. So the important thing there is that instead of just crumbling it up and throwing it out and giving up, look, voila, fixed it. Keep going, because maybe the rest of the drawing will turn out to be something cool. Kind of fixed it, right? Next, I'm going to make some of the details of the front side of his face. And we're going to want him to have a really wrinkly, rolly, rounded, and curmudgeonly face. If you're a young kid and you're like, what does that mean? A curmudgeon is a guy that is always grumpy. A lot of old men tend to be curmudgeons, but that's cool. As long as you're nice to people, you can be grumpy. Sometimes it's with reason, and sometimes people are just curmudgeons. So he's going to have a lot of kind of neck rolls happening here. So we'll give him a chin right about here. And then these are kind of more chins. Why not? Then I'm going to, usually I would do eyes first, but I think I'm going to establish his nose before we do the eyes. Good general rule of thumb as you're drawing a face, from where the ear is, the eyes should be like right at the top of the ear, the nose should land right at the bottom of the ear. So since I already have an ear here, that's kind of what I'm shooting for. However, this is an old man. Noses and ears don't stop growing, apparently. So maybe his nose or ear is longer. But as a general rule, when you're drawing people, you want the nose and the ear to be the same height. Next, I'm going to make an eye over here, and we'll have him looking towards us very grumpily. So I'm kind of implying an upper eyelid here. I actually went over that line more than I should have. I liked it better when it was just the initial line, and I tried to fix it a tiny bit, and I made it worse. If you've got a good thing going, don't ruin it. Just let it be. Okay, so now as I'm drawing an eye, here's a spot that a lot of people, when they're getting going on drawing people, will get wrong. We want this eye, if I continue this line, it should make a circle. It should not look like a football. It shouldn't look like anything other than a circle. Maybe an oval, depending on the angle that the face is at. This guy's looking towards us, we want it to be a circle. But the eye is intersected by that eyelid, so you can't see the full circle. Same thing when we add in the iris, we want that to be a circle shape and nothing else. And then maybe we kind of scribble in around the eye there for the iris so that it's not just white. And then over here, I'm just going to start the lower eyelid. I don't want to draw the whole thing. When you're drawing eyes, less is more, especially if you're drawing guys. We all know this guy has eyelashes. If I try to draw in every eyelash, it's not going to look right. You as a viewer, your brain is going to associate it more with a female. It's just how we're hardwired. When you're drawing a guy, definitely take it easy on the eyelashes. If you're drawing a woman, same thing. Don't try to draw every last eyelash. We all know they're there, but if you try to draw every one, it ends up looking wrong. And sometimes it ends up looking kind of clownish. And we'll give him an eyebrow here. Maybe kind of a bushy one because he's old, with some unruly hairs in there. And then I'm going to, I think we need a little bit of an eyelid down here, a droopy bag under his eye. Another good general rule, when you're drawing the human face, the eyeballs should be 1 eye distance apart. So when I jump over here to make this eye, if I jump all the way over here before I start the eye, you're going to look at it and say, Mike, you blew it. So I want the inside of this eye to be about the same width away from this one as the width of this eye. So that's a good rule of thumb when you're getting going. And even if you've been drawing faces for years, that's something that you have to keep in the back of your mind. If you're not really paying attention to what you're doing, it's easy to make the second eye too far away or too close together. But as soon as you make the mistake, it's like, ah, man, what a rookie move. And that's something that anybody can spot. If you really want to impress people, get the eyes right. If you really want to not impress people, get the eyes wrong. Because anybody that's looking at your stuff will know that the eyes are either right or they're not right. So if I'm trying to draw, name any celebrity, if I'm trying to draw that person, if I don't get their eyes right, you're going to look at it and go, no, that doesn't look like that person. Eyes are the one thing that we're all very aware of what that person looks like. And again, if you get it right, people are totally in your corner. Wow, you nailed it. And if you get it wrong, not so much. So if you're going to spend time on one thing, really getting it right, spend that time on eyes. It'll pay off. I'm going to kind of add more weight on this nose by adding more shadow here. Kind of adds to him looking old too somehow. And we certainly don't want this guy smiling. He's going to have very tightly pursed lips. You can almost hear him going, "Arr, arr, arr." No, just me? I can hear it. This guy looks a little bit like W.C. Fields if you're a fan of old movies. Between the top hat and the big nose and the grumpy face, I'm seeing a bit of W.C. Fields here, but it is not W.C. Fields. And then just to kind of add like real weight to his face, I'm kind of making heavy jowl lines over here. And he is going to be wearing a scarf. And for this, we're going to just make a couple quick lines kicked out with the pen. And we'll have it come down like that. Maybe make a few lines coming back up the other direction to make more wrinkles in the scarf. And we'll give him his shoulder over here. And then the scarf is also going to continue on this side of the face. That is a grumpy old man. I'm also going to add a few little wisps on this side of his head. If you really want to draw some crazy hair, you could look up a picture of Martin Van Buren. I believe he was our 15th president, had the wildest hair of any US president, and he's pretty fun to draw because of that. Maybe one day I'll do a presidential drawing of Martin Van Buren. He's a lot of fun to draw. I'm trying to add some shading here. This gets really risky. I'm trying to use the pen lighter than what it wants to do by just barely pressing it down and kicking it out. But doing this, sometimes the ink will really glob up, and of course it'll come out at exactly the spot that you don't want it to. but I'm going to try to add in some of that light shading there. And he certainly needs a couple of wrinkles up in his brow area. Make him a little grumpier and have more weight to his face. I think a bit of a shadow here on this side of his nose. I think it would be fun to play around with what this guy's so serious and grumpy about. Maybe you already know why your old man is so grumpy. Please feel free to share with me why your old guy is so curmudgeonly and cantankerous. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed drawing a grumpy old man with me. And tune in again next week for another episode of the Paige Doodle Club. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Don't be as grumpy as that guy.
Park Street Books is proud to sponsor the Paige Doodle Club. Park Street Books is an independent children's book and toy store. With nothing electronic in the store, Park Street Books encourages kids to read, play, and unplug. Find them locally at 504 Main Street, Medfield, Mass. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Or visit parkstreetbooks.com no matter where you are. That's parkstreetbooks.com.